Now, I just have to ask you one thing. Do you have your math homework done?
Yes, I had math on Tuesday and it's all done. I love it.
So, first of all, I wanted to say I understand and I know that you love the mathematics and physics. And I've been into your blog also. So I've been watching or reading a lot about your blog and the things that you love to do, the stuff I love. And so tell me a little bit, where did this interest start?
Okay, the funny thing is math has never really been my thing. I only really started liking it in grade 8, which is like insane because that was really only a few years ago. But I had a really cool teacher in grade 8, and we did the week of inspirational math. I don't know if you've heard of it. There's this really amazing educator. Her name's Jo Bowler, and I look up to her so much. Like, I really want to be her one day. And so it was like learning about growth mindset rather when all the years before, it's like I'd always been good at math, but I never really enjoyed doing it. And I'd been scoring really well on every test, but you come to learn at some point that a mark is just a number. It's not like an accurate representation of who I was as a math student. So we did the week of inspirational math and we learned about like Pascal's triangle and the Fibonacci sequence, which funnily enough are like two things that we've just done in math club. And
Yes,
it
yes.
was those two things that really got me thinking because it wasn't like the traditional math that you do in class. And there were just so many applications to it and so many different like avenues you could go down, especially with like Pascal's triangles. There are so many patterns in it. It's kind of like a treasure trove, honestly, of mathematical
Right.
thinking and just being able to like do that. But it was also learning about growth mindset is that, mistakes help us to learn. Is that I used to get really down on myself if I got like a 72 on a math test, which I did once. And I like went home in tears because I wasn't used to that. But it's like learning about those
Well,
mistakes. And then in grade 9, I had an amazing teacher again who actually knew my grade 9, my grade 8 teacher. And so she kept me going on math and I just grew to love it even more. So, but physics
so
too, is just, I've always loved the universe.
I just want to go back to Joe Bowler. Like we've had a lot of professional development with Joe Bowler, and growth mindset is a big part of DSPN and some of the success that we've had in mathematics and the teachers. So this growth mindset is really part of your learning and thinking. As I looked in your blog and some of the things that you're writing, can you tell me a little bit more about that and how you? And I see that you're a mentor for a grade 10 class, I think it is, or a grade 9 class.
Yeah, grade 10 science. It's been really cool because the teacher I have my placement with was actually my physics teacher from grade 11 and 12. So he knows me really well and he lets me kind of have a lot of free reign when I do lessons. And so I think the best example of growth mindset I can think of, at least, I was teaching them a lesson on how to balance chemical equations. So it's like you have the skeleton, but not every, like you want the same amount of atoms on either side. And I showed them a really hard one and I said, okay, go try this. And a lot of them were like, oh, that's really hard. Like this atom has like 6 hydrogens and like 3, and it was just like it was like glucose or something, so it wasn't that crazy, but there was a lot going on and it was really busy. And I said the best way to learn is if you make all the mistakes possible, so then you know what not to do, and then you've tried a whole bunch of different things. And by the end of the lesson they were like taking risks, and I would ask, I was like, okay, who wants to show me what their thought process was? And a bunch of them were like, okay, I want to do it. And it was just really cool. And I mean, I try to tell them all the time, I'm like, guys, making a mistake isn't a bad thing. It's like a blessing in disguise because that's how you learn. And I told them, I was like, when you get into grade 11 science too, it's really one of the best tools you can have, especially with physics, is that it's so hard at the beginning. And when you make mistakes, then you really further yourself. And the grade 10s
Right.
have been awesome too. They really get it. So I'm lucky for that.
Sophie, I've always found, I know, if you're going to be a teacher and if you're thinking about teaching, that's the most important part. I've always found those students in your class that are reluctant or kind of say that they're not good math students or good science students, and those are the ones that you can really, if you can engage them, that's a real advantage. Now, the other thing is, you taught that lesson. I heard you've taught the actual lesson as a teacher.
Yeah, actually, I think throughout like the entire process over the past couple of months, because I've been doing it since like February now, is that you learn that delivery is only really like a third of the teaching job, and that I had to spend a lot of time doing prep. And it's interesting because I guess it gives you like an inside look onto really like the teacher life in a way.
This is your grade 11, so you've got one more year.
I
And
know.
I'm pretty certain that you've done most of your math and most of your science grade 12 courses already, or what are you looking forward to?
Next year, I'm looking forward to calculus for sure because I've gotten into it a little bit so far and it's some really, really cool stuff. I'm definitely a little bit afraid of the vector side, even though it's like I do vectors all the time for physics, but it's different in math. But probably grade 12 chemistry too. I'm only in grade 11 chemistry right now, but my teacher keeps talking about like the quantum mechanical model of the atom. And I'm like, I want to get to that because I love quantum mechanics right now. I'm like, so that'll be fun, definitely.
Oh, you're going to love calculus. That was my favorite for sure. So I want to keep in touch with you to hear how you make out next year. And of course, when you graduate and go to Teachers College at Brock or wherever you choose, please keep in touch with us because we're very interested in your future and career. And thank you very much for taking some time to talk with me about all the things that you're doing in math and physics. Thank you very much. You're a real credit to Grimsby as well as DSPN.
Thank you.
Thank you.